It's Sunday, February the 5th, 2023. You're listening to Wes and Shelley Share, coming to you from Matthews, North Carolina. Good evening, Shelley.
Hey, honey, how are you?
Well, we probably should have started this a little bit earlier, but...
I know, because I am tired and almost ready for bed.
Yes. Well, we're going to title this episode, Goodnight Moon.
Oh, well, then it's good. It's good that it's almost my bedtime.
I guess so. Actually, there's been a beautiful full moon. I don't know if you've been out to see that. What are we going to talk about in this episode?
Well, I had a lot of fun researching my Wonderlink this week. One of my favorite things to do on Fridays is every Friday with my students, we have Space Fridays. It's my favorite day of the week. So for morning meeting, I like to give them Wonderlinks, and we talk about the NASA astronauts. And so anyway, I was thinking the other day.
This is the preview of what all the topics are for the show.
Oh, I'm only giving a preview?
Yeah, you're kind of jumping right into it.
Oh, sorry.
So it's all right. We're going to talk about Tom Washburn, who's an astronaut from North Carolina, and Shelley's Wonderlinks and space, because she's very excited.
I am very excited.
And there's a link to Goodnight Moon, so we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about My World, which we don't have these books.
Well, we have them. We just don't know where they are.
By Margaret Wise Brown.
Yeah.
And the mystery of the woman covered in oatmeal at the end of the book.
I think that's kind of stupid, but that's okay.
Well, it's weird. It's a mystery that we never solved. Okay. And then we're going to talk about our weekend adventure to Cast Iron Waffles and the New York Butcher Shop in Indian Land. And then we have our Wonderlink and our Wonderlink, which is going to be Ann Springs Close Greenway, which maybe we'll talk about too. But
no, we definitely have to talk about that.
Okay. All right. So, Shelley, tell us about Space Friday in your classroom.
All right. Space Friday. So anyway, we have Space Friday, and we always, we're learning about space and our Artemis mission. And so I was wondering the other day if there were, what astronauts are from North Carolina, because I used to know, Oklahoma astronauts, but now I need to know North Carolina astronauts. So anyway, I was looking it up, and Tom Washburn is actually from, and I got to know Tom Washburn because he was on the same mission. I think it was Dragon Crew 4. I should probably check that out. But anyway, with Caleb Barron and Rasha Shari, and it was the crew that my students a couple years ago, we actually saw take off and get to the space station and watch them get on. Anyway, we kind of
watched a lot of videos about them and learn their background.
So fun.
Rasha Shari's from the Air Force Academy. Caleb Barron was a nuclear submariner.
Yeah. So anyway, they're just really awesome. So anyway, Tom Washburn was on that mission with them. He's a senior astronaut.
He had actually been with Chris Hadfield in a previous mission.
Yeah, in fact, he flew on the shuttle missions. He flew on the Soyuz missions. He was on one of the missions with Chris Hadfield. That's
who,
when
if you don't know him, is like one of the most amazing astronauts ever.
He's a Canadian astronaut.
From Canada. He's just fantastic. And he has a master class that our friend Eric Langhorst has actually taken about being an astronaut. We haven't taken that, but it's pretty cool.
He's really awesome, pretty talented. Did a music video from space.
That's
in
right.
The cupola. It was awesome. So anyway, so Tom Washburn's been around, and he is from North Carolina, and it's really exciting because he went to Davidson College. He decided he wanted to be an astronaut in high school, but then once he got into high school, and then he decided, he went to college, majored in physics, but during college he decided he wanted to go to medical school, so he ended up going to medical school. He also went to Wake Forest for one of his medicals, and
which incidentally is going to be my North Carolina school because the initials are WF.
Yeah, that's very cool. And then he became an emergency room doctor, and then as he was a doctor, he heard that NASA was looking for flight surgeons, and so he applied and became some of the first NASA flight surgeons. He was a flight surgeon for NASA for a few years and then decided he wanted to be an astronaut, so it kind of all came full circle. So he is an experienced astronaut. He's done several EVAs, which is extravehicular. It's when they go outside of the ISS.
Activity.
Yeah. And so it was really awesome to learn about him. And so in the course of this is kind of what I do. I kind of go down these little rabbit holes. But he read a book for while he was on the International Space Station, Goodnight Moon. It was for Goodnight Moon's 75th anniversary.
By Margaret Wise Brown, one of our most beloved children's picture books.
Yeah. So anyway, it was really awesome, not only to investigate Tom Marshburn, who is a NASA astronaut, but also to get into Goodnight Moon, which is a book that we, of course, loved to read to our children. And we had all the little funny things like, oh, don't touch it, it's hot, because it had the little fireplace, and that was fun. And we looked for the wee mouse. And anyway, it was just one of those books that, again, was a family favorite.
And one of the things that I'd like to do, we'll have to dig in our garage. Not that we have that many boxes still to unpack, but there's a few. But I think it would be really neat to read these books, maybe each of us. And I don't know if YouTube would take that down or not as far as copyright. I just saw somebody has a complete reading of Goodnight Moon, and it's got like almost 500,000 views. And anyway, it's up. I don't know, but that'd be kind of cool to have those. I think it would be awesome. We could, our grandchildren or great grandchildren, maybe, hey, if you wanted to hear great-grandmother Shelley read Goodnight Moon.
And that's kind of some of the feedback we got even from our own children, that they really enjoyed hearing our first podcast, because it was like Sarah said, it's like I was in the room with you, So I think it's just a really neat connection that we're building with this. So,
well, one of the things, you never know what kind of connections that you're going to build. Yeah. And we've both experienced really, really positive connections, even transformative connections, because of sharing and generous sharing. And so part of, I think, what we want to encourage others to do is to find ways to share and to not just be fearful of sharing. Things can be perilous, especially if you want to talk about hot button cultural issues or, certain things. But and we may actually talk about some of those in the course of this podcast, but not tonight. But it's definitely it can be wonderful to share a passion, to share an interest. People get to know you, but then you also make connections, and sometimes those connections lead places. Sometimes it's a deepened friendship, but other times it's ideas. So I remember, not only Goodnight Moon, but Goodnight iPad.
I don't really remember that.
Well, here's what I remember about that. That came out right about the time when I went up to Maine, and I bought a copy of that in Jody's family toy store. Yeah, in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Yeah. And so talking about, connections to Bob Sprankle, and that all came through podcasting and his New York Times article in 2005, and David Warlick, who I was reading. I saw him at NECC before it was ISTE, and he's from Raleigh, North Carolina. In fact, that's a connection that we should make. He's in North Carolina. I think he went up to Philadelphia. They had the EduCon conference this weekend, and I saw Sylvia Martinez and other people posting about that. But anyway, so they've made different remixes of different books, and so this was Goodnight iPad, which is sort of it's not anti-screen time, but it definitely is a put away the iPad, but it's like it sort of brings it up to modern day with game systems and everything. So we'll link to those, and hopefully we can find these books, and then we can go ahead and read them, and then we'll try to put those on YouTube and link those as well, because I think that's it. Really, why do you think reading picture books to children is important, Shelley?
Well, I just think it's important to read aloud to children of whatever ages. And I do think from a teacher standpoint, it builds fluency, it builds vocabulary, it builds, voice, inflection. And
I think it's also just we know that reading prepares you for sleep, but I think there's something about that shared experience and the repetition of it too, right? That year that I taught, what was it, kindergarten or pre-K Sunday school for you?
It was kindergarten, I think. Or 4-year-olds. Was it 4-year-olds?
Was it Tashana?
Yeah.
Was in there? And I, maybe the first time I read The Three Little Pigs. And, from then on, every Sunday,
That's right,
the kids wanted me to read The Three Little Pigs. Now, hopefully we got some Sunday school lessons in there,
and sometimes that's
too.
because you use funny voices. I mean, we love to use the funny voices, and I still read aloud to my 5th graders.
Do you?
Yep.
You're reading,
so
you're
this
reading
year we've read
Wild Robot.
Wild Robot, and right now we're on Wild Robot Escapes. And
But you said it was kind of sad.
I did. I cried. Just, it was hard.
Because Roz got captured.
Yes, she did. She's on her way
She's
home.
an AI robot. It's really a pretty amazing.
It's an incredible story.
I read a lot of it to my my 6th graders last year. Didn't end up finishing it. They enjoyed it, but they kind of tolerated it. I don't know. I think kids do enjoy it. It all depends. You do such a great job with classroom culture, and I think that reading and having that kind of a routine and the things and connections. Why does space and learning about space take you to such a happy place? You had that experience this week, didn't you?
I do. I think it's something I've always been fascinated with. Back to when I would watch Star Trek. So I feel like we talk about this a lot, but
we started the
really
series
does.
Picard on
we
Paramount Plus.
I was really excited to start that. Now, oh man, they look so old. But
they are old. We're old.
I know,
we're all getting old.
So, but I love space, and I love learning about. I think because right now there's so many new things happening in space. And it's just so cool. And I think NASA really does a good job of making space accessible to all ages, to all people. I think it's a really good opportunity. They're always talking about it's not just the United States, it's international partnerships. So I think it's trying to bring the world together on some common ground. So I think it's just really exciting.
Yeah. And a lot of science fiction anticipates the future, and many things that science fiction has anticipated have come to pass. Not really replicators quite yet for Earl Grey hot, but a lot of things. And even now, as we contemplate the metaverse and AI and generative AI, man,
so much with that.
This is kind of wild. There is, and I think I gave this as a link on the EdTech Situation Room, my Wednesday night show with Jason. Were you? It's not Friends. I almost blew it. When you're trying to tell a joke and you just totally forget your punchline. Kramer. Who are these people? They had to help me with the names, and I don't know if you're going to be able to get it. It's a sitcom that ran for Jerry Seinfeld. Were you ever a Seinfeld fan?
No, I was never a Seinfeld.
I'm so proud of myself that I can remember it. So they've used AI to analyze every episode of Seinfeld, and so there's a website that's streaming 24/7 Seinfeld, but it's in 8-bit video that looks like an Atari video game, and it's new. It's not anything that's ever been done before. It's been created, but it's kind of a vision of the future, like a holodeck. It's 8-bit right now, which means it's really low quality. But anyway, you love the holodeck of Star Trek.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that we are rapidly moving to a place where virtual reality is going to be like that, as far as not just things that, and it's not just going to be things that somebody has built and coded, but that the computers and the AI systems are themselves going to be, taking suggestions, taking your input and suggestions and creating things. So, all right. Well, anything else we want to say about astronaut Tom Washburn? Oh, tell about your plans. Aren't you're supposed to be hooked up maybe for an upcoming live connection through South Africa or something? Is that going to happen for the astronauts thing?
I hope so.
Share about that real quick.
We don't really have any set plans yet, but I love, building my community on Facebook, and I have a lot of teacher educator friends that I love to connect with. And so a lot of times when I post about Space Friday and some of the things that my students are doing, I've made some great connections. But there is an educator in South Africa that has a astronaut talk with Nicole Stott, who is another amazing astronaut. She is an artist, and she's done a lot of work with the space suits, art suits, and she makes them in works of art so that they are represented from from a child from every country in the world. And so anyway, I think that's really awesome. And he invited me to be on that talk and all that call with them. So that's really awesome. And then I'm, connected. That's when I found out about Goodnight Oppie from another educator that I've connected with.
Which, by the way, the little connection there, one of my 6th graders coded his scratch maze inspired by Goodnight Oppie and made his own sprite of the rover Oppie. And I had shared that with my other class, but then also with Shelley's, and then your 5th graders.
My students played the maze and made that connection, and it's really cool when we're doing similar things.
Do you know what? Because we were just saying your kids don't have the Scratch account logins to be able to leave comments. Do you think your kids could make a video for him, for Leo?
I don't
know. See if somebody who played it would be willing to give him some feedback. I mean, one of the things that just doesn't happen that often is we don't end up connecting classrooms of kids to each other. I mean, I remember in the early days of the internet, I'm trying to think of who it was at University of Texas that was all into this and telecomputing projects. But, we just don't do that very much. So anyway, I love kids having an authentic audience for their creations. And that was a neat share because you learned about Goodnight Oppie, the documentary on Amazon Prime, through Facebook, shared it with me. I've shared it with my students. It inspired one of my 6th graders to create this scratch maze. Then that got shared back with your kids. They played it last week. I don't know. Hey, Wes and Shelley share.
It is.
Okay, well, it's halftime, actually, and we've got to listen to our ad. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about our Wanderlink stuff. Wandering. This episode of Wes and Shelley Shares is brought to you by Cook with Wes. Cook with Wes is my, Wes Fryer's, personal passion project, sharing lots of food photos, a few recipe videos, lots of barbecue and smoked meat adventures, and many other recipes from my indoor and outdoor kitchens. You can find all our family recipes on food.wesfryer.com and follow Cook with Wes on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. If you're on Mastodon, and really, why not? Since Twitter has become a bit of a dumpster fire, you can search for the hashtag CookWithWes to find my latest food shares there. Well, I did start a separate YouTube channel for Cook with Wes, but I've continued to post most of my cooking videos on YouTube on my main channel. You can access the complete playlist at wfryer.me/cook. Thanks for tuning in to Wes and Shelley Shares. I hope to see you on social media on one of the channels for Cook with Wes. All right, we're back from halftime. What weekend adventure did we go on this weekend, Shelley?
Well, we got kind of a late start. We didn't get our early morning breakfast, but I think I wasn't ready for some coffee. So we were looking for some fun coffee places, and we found a coffee and waffle place. So there are 3 locations. I think we ended up in the one in Indian Trail. Is that right?
Well, it was technically in Charlotte. We kind of went through Weddington and Marvin and like South Charlotte, but it's called Cast Iron Waffles. It was a really small place.
Yeah, but it was really neat. It was just a pop in. Wasn't exactly on our healthy eating program, but
Shelley has needed
but it was a treat.
Yeah, some uplift at this time.
Yeah, well, it's not a very good uplift actually. Sometimes I don't feel great after consuming a lot of sugar.
Something off plan, yeah.
Yeah, so
right.
I mean, it's one of those choices that's really good in the moment, and then you're like, why did I do that? But the coffee was great, and the adventure was fun, and so.
And I was having a conversation with some of the IT staff at our school who are into like barbecue and smoking, and they had told me about a couple butcher shops. I hadn't found a butcher shop. I used to love, what was the name of that one that we found? Firebirds in Oklahoma City. But it's in northwest Oklahoma City, like on Council or something. But this one is called New York Butcher Shop. It's in Indian Land. Was it over in South Carolina?
I don't know.
It's really
so
close.
Confused.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's over the border. Fort Mills down there. And anyway, this is part of what we're exploring. But we bought some short ribs there, and then I smoked those. And, it's, hey, the briskets were like over $110. That was a little bit pricey. Butcher shops.
We didn't buy one of those, right?
No, we did not.
Okay.
Butcher shops are always pricier, but, maybe your meat quality is better. I don't know. But we got some little other treats that we had. So.
And they got some dog treats, didn't we?
Nope.
No?
I don't think we got dog treats. Oh. Okay, so we wandered around there, but hey, let's talk about, and this is actually not far from there, Ann Springs Close Greenway.
Oh, wow. That is an amazing place.
Yes. My principal, the director for our middle school, Lee Tappy, had told me about it. And this again came from sharing, right? Because we share pictures of adventures. Many times we didn't really, well, I think we took a picture by the coffee sign today, or this weekend. But we have this place called, and I'm looking at a picture now on our TV, Stevens Creek, which is across 485, just kind of down Lawyers Road and Thompson Road. Anyway, it's like basically 5 minutes from our house. But I had shared that and how we're enjoying hiking, and then that's when my principal, Lee, had shared about Ann Springs Close Greenway, which we've only started to explore. It costs, I think, $12 a month or something like that, $10 a month. And that's, if you go twice, you've paid for your entry.
It's gotta be. It's not a month, is it?
I think it is. Yeah, I think we pay each month for it. But if we go, maybe if we even go one time, it's like, because it's not super expensive, but it's like 32 acres of property. We've gone twice. We went and had a picnic the last time.
Yeah, and they have a dog park, but we have to get registered.
We got to get registered for that.
And they have horse trails, and you can do fishing, and it's just a huge wildlife area.
But the trails, and there's bike trails too, but not all trails are available for everything. So some of them are just hiking. We've hiked around Hagler Lake. Well, the first time we did all the way around it. The next time we just did partway and took lots of pictures. But it's going to be wonderful to see it in the seasons.
Yeah, we've just been there in the winter.
Yeah, it was colder this weekend, actually, which is part of the reason we didn't hike. But, I mean, compared to the rest of the country, do you know, Simon said it got down to negative, 19 or something like that this weekend
crazy.
in New Hampshire. And, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, ice storms, bitter cold.
I think it's warmed up a little bit, though.
Oh, no, it has.
Okay, but isn't it crazy? Like, on our way to church, I see some of our trees, our flowering trees, already flowering. I'm like, what? It's like, not even the middle of February, and the daffodils are... And then I saw some, redbud trees and other trees.
Yeah.
So it feels like spring here already. I'm hoping to be able to get back on the trails this weekend. It's been raining.
It's been unseasonably wet here.
Yeah.
So it's things need to dry out a little bit. But, that's part of the reason we moved here was because of the adventure and the possibility of being able to, go hiking. And today we had a wonderful lunch with a couple, Jim and Lisa, who were in our church, and actually, again, Shelley connected on Facebook and said, didn't Jim say, hey, why don't we go out to lunch? And we found out they have a house on the coast near Oak Island. And so we learned a lot of things, but one of the things we learned about was, different areas on the coast. We haven't had a coast adventure yet in North Carolina, and we're about 6 hours away from the Outer Banks, so that's a long drive, but if we go south of Wilmington, we're more like 3 hours away. And so, anyway, that's something that we're thinking about.
That'll be a weekend adventure, I think.
Yeah, we'll have to
it's
see.
an awfully long drive.
Spring break. Well, we did that the other weekend. We went to Moonshine Creek, actually.
Was it 3 hours, really?
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was a lot of...
I also want to go to Charleston, though.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
But that's also, I mean, that's just a little bit further south of where we're talking about. So, all right. Well, I mean, we could end early, I guess. We didn't quite have a 15-minute episode here. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about as far as, I guess, our wanderlings? Do you want to talk any more about Ann Springs Close Greenway? All right, I want to ask you about outdoor education. No, that's not a good face. What do you want to talk about?
We just didn't plan it, so I don't know what I'm going to say.
We waited so late. It's 10 o'clock.
I know. It's past my
We got to do this earlier. You and I have both done some outdoor education things. I know that when you were at Bozeman Elementary in Lubbock, you all had a trip that you all would plan and save up for, and the kids would be excited for, and it was to go actually to Oklahoma, to Camp Goddard. And that was not the camp I think we took our kids at Cassidy to. I'm trying to think of...
Yes, I think you did.
Did we go to Goddard?
Yeah, one time you went
Maybe
to
we did. Yeah, because
the Y, but then this last time you did go to Camp Goddard.
Camp Classen is where Alexander got to go with his 6th grade team. I don't think Sarah got to go, did she?
I don't remember. I don't think so. I think they weren't
I think
doing
Alexander was the last one. Yeah. And maybe we did. Maybe we did go to Goddard. Yeah. So what do you remember about that? And was that your first outdoor education experience?
Well, not formally. I mean, it maybe with a classroom at school. I was a camp counselor, campfire, at one summer, and did a lot of outdoor education with that.
What did you do at Montreat was it mainly like a cabin counselor?
No, it's not even a cabin. I mean, that's just a youth camp.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't have put it in the same category as, not like I did with campfire.
Yeah.
I mean, that was all summer, and man, people would send, one year I had like kindergarten and first grade boys whose parents sent them away for, a month at a time to go to a summer camp. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought that was excessive a little bit. But no, I love outdoor education and, canoeing and hiking and building fires and, just all of the outdoor zip lines. Mm-hmm. So rock climbing.
Yeah.
We did all of that. It was fantastic. And I love camp because you sang camp songs and you had campfires and, they had each night we would gather and, it was just, I used to know all kinds of great camp songs. I don't think I know any of them anymore. I never finished Girl Scouts. I probably should have finished Girl Scouts, but I did enjoy my time working at the campfire camp. Camp Monakiwa. No, yeah.
Was that what it was? Well, we got to go to Camp Weaver, which is in Greensboro, North Carolina, with our 7th graders. 6th graders got to go too, and we went. It says 3 months ago because I made a couple videos, and it was like archery and canoeing and low ropes and high ropes and rock climbing and and it was interesting because hey, COVID's affected everybody as far as jobs and employment and stuff like that, and I think some of the employees there were relatively new hires, and so it's a gift, I think, to be able to not only work with kids but be able to make camp fun and have songs and just be able to have good rapport and management skills, with large groups.
It was really awesome when like you were saying, it was not at Bozeman, it was at Guadalupe. No, is that right?
No, you were at Bozeman when you did Goddard, yeah.
Oh, so confused. It's a long time ago. But, some of our students, we would take 5th and 6th graders, and they were from a low socioeconomic, and a lot of our students had never been outside of their neighborhoods. And here we were driving 6 hours into Oklahoma, staying in a cabin.
And the first night doing the stories about the snakes and telling them about all the creepy crawlies. Hey, you don't want to get out of your cabin.
Out of their cabins.
Don't want to get out of your cabin at night because who knows what you might meet.
But it was a really awesome opportunity for our students to. I know we've talked about this before, but not to become nature deficient. I think
nature deficit disorder is what that is for Richard Louv.
I think it's really important for kids to get outside and play and hike and be. There's a lot of things that can be.
Well,
learned
we need it. We are very
absolutely.
screen oriented. We are both, teachers, and we're at schools where Shelly's kids all have Chromebooks. My kids all have iPads. There's a tendency to do a lot of stuff with screens, which can be great. But at the same time, it's wonderful to be outside. And I wish in the fall when we were doing like our oral history unit, we went outside to interview each other and to do those kind of things. And as it warms up, I need to remember that and see if I can, get my kids outside to do some things. So
all right.
All right.
This has been fun.
And I think Shelly's ready for bed.
I am.
All right.
Ready for bed.
So what's your Wanderlink? No, your Wonderlink.
Well, my Wonderlink was astronaut Tom Marshburn, who is reading Goodnight Moon from the International Space Station. So, and I think that was recorded by Crayola Crayon. And they were...
like the sponsor of the program.
Yeah, they were the sponsor for that. And then if you can find the full-length video, I've actually found the full-length video on... I don't remember if it was Twitter or Facebook. But there is a shorter video on YouTube, so you can find that. And
then the Wanderlink is Ann Springs Close Greenway. So if you live anywhere around Charlotte or Fort Mill or anywhere in this area, it's just really neat. You don't have to be a member. You can just go. But it's really well maintained and lots of trails. And like we said, you can... the dog park is not like a walk-up thing, and I think we have to pay extra to do that. Yeah. We haven't done the dog park.
We have to get them registered.
But what's going to be so wonderful about that is, like dog parks that we've been around here are just a little bit more like mowed grass and stuff like that, and of course mud now. But there's a lot of trees and areas for them to explore, and I think they're just going to have an awesome time. So... all right, well, if you'd like to connect with us, you can go to shellyfryer.com/podcast. In fact, I'm going to ask Rachel to see if she... well, maybe I should ask all our kids, because I know Sarah's listening too, to record, and we can rotate. Rachel had recorded an outro for me that I used on my podcast for a long time. So, anyway.
Sweet baby Rachel.
It is. So, anyway, we'll include that. But shellyfryer.com/podcast, and... we are now on Apple Podcasts and I think Stitcher and on Pocket Casts, and hopefully after this week we'll be on...
I'm going to be in Spotify.
Google. Oh, we are. We're on Spotify.
Okay.
Yep. So hopefully, pretty... and the only one I think we weren't on yet because I used the ampersand in our name, and you can't use a special character and whatever, was in Google Podcasts. But hopefully after this I've got that fixed, and we'll be in Google Podcasts too. So... hopefully anywhere that you find your podcast, you'll be able to find us. We are a Sunday night show, shooting for a 30-minute show, and we wish you well.
We'll see you next week.
That's right. Stay curious and keep sharing.
Wes and Shelley Share is a weekly podcast recorded and published on Sundays by Wesley and Shelley Fryer of Matthews, North Carolina. Learn more and find links to connect on social media to Wes and Shelley by visiting shellyfryer.com/podcast. Content on this podcast is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Only 3.0 license. The Wes and Shelley Share podcast is recorded and published with Anchor and distributed on all major podcast channels, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, and more. Please share our show on social media and tell others about us. Let us know on Facebook or via other means what you like about the show, that you're listening, and if you have any suggestions for future episodes. Stay curious, go outside, and keep exploring.